Namaskar, Suswagatam, welcome to the 130th session of Brahmo Conference. On the occasion of post-centennial Golden Jubilee of Pune Prarthana Samaj, I welcome one and all on behalf of all the members of Pune Prarthana Samaj. As per convention, the session begins with flag hoisting. So let us go for flag hoisting. Thank you.
सुविशालमिदं विश्वं पवित्रं ब्रह्ममन्दिरं चेतस्सु निर्मलं तीर्थं सत्यं शास्त्रम् अनश्वरम् विश्वासो धर्ममूलं हि प्रीतिः परमसाधनं स्वार्थनाशस्तु वैराग्यं ब्राह्मैरेवं प्रकीर्त्यते। श्रीनारायण तु पुरुषोत्तम गुरुतो ॐ तत्सत् श्रीनारायण तु पुरुषोत्तम गुरुतो सिद्धबुद्ध तु स्कन्दविनायक सविता पावक तु सविता पावक तु ब्रह्ममर्दतु यौवशक्तितु विशुपिता प्रभुतु रुद्रविष्णुतु रामकृष्णतु रहिमतावतु रहिमतावतु वासुदेव गोविश्वरूपतु चिदानन्द हरितु अद्वितीय तु अकाल निर्भय आत्मलिंग शिवतु आत्मलिंग शिवतु आत्मलिंग शिवतु। After the flag hoisting, I now request Dr. Ashok Gurudas, President, Bangalore Brahma Samaj, to offer the prayer.
Good morning to all my brothers and sisters. Namaste. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu Ma Vidvishavavahai. Jaya Vishwapita Bhagavan Dayanidhi. Unto him the Vishwapita, the Father of the whole universe. Unto him the Bhagavan, the all-pervading, all-protecting one. Unto him the Dayanidhi, the mine of mercy, the main of mercy. Unto him we tender our worshipping obeisance on this solemn, truly blessed occasion. Om Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma Anandarupam Amrutam Yadvibhati Shantam Shivamadvaitam Shuddham Apapaviddham. Satyam, the very foundation of the whole universe, the eternal guarantee of the perfection of the whole universe. Thou, the God of Satyam, art likewise the God of Jnanam. Truth revealed is Jnanam. Truth which cherishes every aspiration, blessing, and every endeavor is Jnanam. Truth brought home to the business and the bosom of man is Jnanam. Truth leading the soul along the pilgrimage of life is Jnanam. Truth as it looks upon the child in hope and confidence, and upon the parent in love and solicitude, that is Jnanam. Anantam, and thou hast ordained unto every man the blessedness of infinite growth and expansion in thee. Thou art the matchless, measureless, limitless, eternal Brahman. Unto thee we render our devotest obeisances. Thou art the ever self-manifesting, self-expression, Ananda Rupam Amrutam, in endless Anandam and imperishable Amrutam. Thou art manifest always and everywhere, and so manifesting thyself. Thou reproducest thyself in thy Anandam as Shantam and in thy Amrutam as Shivam. The omnipervasiveness, enclosing all and assuming all into the one Advaitam, the oneness of harmony, of immortal fellowship and inexhaustible love. Thus thou art the all-unifying, all-perfecting, all-perpetuating God. We reach our eternal destiny and the fulfillment of thy purpose in Shuddham Apapaviddham, sinless and flawlessness, sanctity and holiness. And thus we are ever blessed in thee, in the perfection of divinely sanctified humanity. Blessed by thy name, now and forever. Om Vishwani Deva Paritar Duritani Parasuva Yad Bhadram Tanna Asuva. Hymn. Anandaloke Mangalaloke Virajo Satya Sundara. Anandaloke Mangalaloke Virajo Satya Sundara. Mahimatava yudbasita mahagaganamaje Vishwajagathamani bhushana veshtita charane. Ananda loke mangala loke virajo satya sundara. Grahataraka chandra tapana vyakula druta vege. Kariche pan, kariche snan, akshaya kirane. Ananda loke mangala loke virajo Satya Sundara. धरणी पर झररी जर मोहन मधुशोभा पुलपल्लव गीतगन्ध सुन्दर वर्णे आनन्दलोके मङ्गलालोके विराजो सत्यसुन्दरा वहे जीवन राजनीदिर चिरनूतन दारा करुणा तव अविश्राम जनमे मरणे आनन्दलोके मङ्गलालोके विराजो सत्यसुन्दरा स्नेह प्रेम दया भक्ति कोमल करे प्राणां कथा सांत्वन करवर्षण संतापहरणे आनंद लोके मंगलालोके विराजो सत्यसुन्दरा जगते तव कि महोत्सव वंदन करे विश्वा श्री संपद भूमास्पद निश्चय शरणे आनंद लोके मंगलालोके विराजो सत्यसुन्दरा. Thank you, Varshita. असतोमा सद्गमय तमसोमा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतंगमय आविरायिर्मयेदि रुद्रयते दक्षिणं मुखं तेन मां पाहि नित्यम्. The whole creation is one perpetual progress of Pavanam, sanctification. The so-called elements, earth, water, fire, air, and space are thy purifying agents. We dread the earth as it trembles in earthquake and volcanic eruption. We dread the water as it courses in floods. We dread fire as it rages in conflagration or inferno. We dread the air as it uproots in tempest, storm, or hurricane. We dread the space as it floods down not in the soft ray of light but in the blinding flash. Yet, we need each of these elements in our lives. What is it? But a purifying and sanctifying agency of the Pavanam, the sanctity of the whole universe. Dirtied, we wash. Soiled, we burn. Tainted, we bring in fresh air. Bedimmed, we employ brightening earth. And above all, begloomed, we receive light that comes on the wings of ether. Thus, all are emissaries employed by thee, Pavanamurti. ईशावास्यमिदं सर्वं यत्किञ्च जगत्यां जगत् तेन तक्तेन भूविद्वा मागृध कस्य स्विद्धनम्. Likewise, we dread the current virus as it sweeps our planet with change, fear, and distress. It ventured into our lives suddenly, and it has been a different challenge for each and every one of us. And yet, we have all been linked, fighting it together on the daily. Although we were already familiar with many bacteria and viruses since the beginning of time, this sudden mutated and dreadful virus has created such a panic and dismay. Yet, we need certain good bacteria and viruses in our lives. We cannot know what the next year will bring, but I am grateful to have spent this time being connected to people who matter to me. Being in such close quarters with my family. We have understood each other better. Further to this, virtual meetings have been a blessing in 2020, connecting us with people all around the world, letting us do our Sunday prayers and Brahma Dharma learnings. We have learnt a lot from one another and have shared our knowledge and are continuing to do so. We have also learnt a lot about our reformers and have been applying their teachings into our lives. I was touched to learn about Sri Mahadev Govind Ranade, who with enthusiasm and zeal took up an important task as a social reformer to work against child marriages, the heavy cost of marriages, caste restrictions for traveling abroad, the shaving of widows, and so on. Raja Ram Mohan Roy's principles has been a light, guiding us through this time. Our house has become our mandir, and this year supported our claim that we don't need to go to a temple, have a mediator to connect with the Almighty. We cannot let this go unseen. We have to do our part as Brahmos to fulfill Rajaram Mohan Roy's and his followers like Sri Govind Ranade's reforms, and also to connect to the youth. They are our future, and we have to pass down the right morals for them to carry on. Only then would we have truly made a difference. Last but not the least, before I end my prayers, I would like to thank Brother Dr. Dilip Jog, Sister Dr. Shushma Jog, and wish their entire team a grand success for the 130th Brahmo Conference on the occasion of the post-centennial Golden Jubilee of Pune Prarthana Samaj. Om Brahma Kripa Hi Kevalam, Brahma Kripa Hi Kevalam, Brahma Kripa Hi Kevalam. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you.
Namaskar. I, Uma Godke, welcome you all to the inauguration function of the 130th session of Brahmo Conference hosted by the Pune Prarthana Samaj. In the beginning, I invite Dr. Sushma Zog to render the invocation.
ভাবো সেই একে জলে স্থলে শুনে যে সমান ভাবে থাকে ভাবো সেই একে যে রচিল এসা আদি অন্ত নাহি যায় যে রচিল এসা আদি অন্ত নাহি যায় যে জানে সকল কেহ নাহি জানে তাকে ভাবো সেই একে meditate on the one, water, earth and space, who equally pervades all alone. Meditate on the one, created this universe, who has no beginning, no end, who has created this universe, who has no beginning, no end, who knows everything, no one knows anything about him, the one. Meditate on the one. तमीश्वराणां परमं महेश्वरं तन्देवतानां परमं च दैवतं पतिं पतीनां परमं परस्तात् विदामदेवं भुवनेशम् ভাবো সেই একে
That was a composition by Sri Rajaram Mohan Roy and its English translation by Dr. Sushma Zog. I now request Dr. Dilip Zog, Chairman, Local Organizing Committee of the 130th session of Brahmo Conference, to welcome the dignitaries and address the audience on this occasion.
Welcome and very good morning to all those who have joined on the virtual platform here on the occasion of 130th session of the Brahmo Conference, which is concurrent with the post-centennial Golden Jubilee of Pune Prarthana Samaj. We have with us today Sri Sanjoy Chanda, President of Delhi Brahmo Samaj, to preside over this 130th session of the Brahmo Conference. We have with us Professor Dr. Raja Dixit as a chief guest and Dr. Vasudha Apte, Mumbai, as a guest of honor. We also have with us Sri Saurav Dey, Kolkata, Secretary of the Brahmo Conference. In the global disaster of the pandemic, we are meeting on this social platform as a beginning of a new era. The theme of this conference is orienting Brahmo and Prarthana Samajas to connect to the youth. Look at the social fabric today. It is torn apart into sects, castes, creed, religions, and there is more of hatred than harmony amongst them. There is a wide scale decadence of moral values. Corruption is rampant everywhere. Extremist and militant activities are spreading in the world like cancer. Oppressions on women have become law of the land. But the modern educated youth today wants to come out of this fragmented state of the society. Brahmo and Prarthana Samajas can potentially be the lighthouses for the youth of the modern times. The Samajas, however, must transform themselves and have a connect with the youth through innovative programs for the development of knowledge-based and value-based society. What exactly does the younger generation need today apart from education and livelihood? What does it expect from Brahmo and Prarthana Samajas? What promise does Brahmo and Prarthana Samajas offer to the youth? The objective of the 130th session of Brahmo Conference is to focus our attention on the above issues. I hope we will have good deliberations during the seminars, and I sincerely hope all of you will enjoy the rest of the conference program. It is heartening to note that there are seniors as well as youngsters, and there are Brahmos as well as non-Brahmos attending this historical event. Many new ventures are initiated from the city of Pune. I must mention that. May it be the first girls' school in India started by Savitribai Phule, or the proclamation of freedom struggle by Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak. May it be the game of badminton which originated from this city, or may it be a low-fat substitute for butter by a famous company, because it is said that a venture is successful if it is successful in Pune. Therefore, let's hope in keeping with this tradition, this will be a beginning of Brahmo conferences on virtual platform. This is the fourth time the Brahmo conference is being organized by Pune Prarthana Samaj. The first time it was 1991 under the leadership of late architect Sri Abhay Sharma and late architect Sri Vijay Godge. Then we had another occasion in 2004 and again in 2012 we had the Brahmo Conference sessions in Pune. I am happy to state that Pune Prarthana Samaj has taken initiative towards having this social connect. We have organized several Susamskar Shibers, that is summer cultural camps for children from 8 to 12 years of age. We have also established awards in the name of Professor Dr. R.G. Bhandarkar, Maharshi Vittal Ramji Shinde, and also in the name of David R. Roberts. Here, Dr. R.G. Bhandarkar Award is given to individuals or institutions engaged in environmental conservation, nature conservation, the spread of message of science, etc. The Maharshi Vittal Ramji Shinde Award is given to again individuals or institutions engaged in inter-community understanding, and David R. Roberts Award is given to individuals or institutions working for children with special needs. We have also instituted scholarships in the name of the leaders of Prarthana Samaj, and these scholarships are given to undergraduate students with a meritorious career and who are financially needy students. And the only condition is that they have to attend upasanas in the Prarthana Samaj, Sunday upasanas, once in a month. And they are attending more upasanas and they are coming with their friends because they have started liking these upasanas. They have also joined us in the upasanas that we are conducting in the lockdown period on the social platform. I hope we will have a good gathering. Once again, on behalf of the local organizing committee, I welcome you all and look forward to a new dawn for the Brahmo and Prarthana Samajas. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dilip Zog, for welcoming the audience and elaborating on the theme of the session of Brahmo Samaj Conference. May I now request Shri Saurav Dey, Secretary, Brahmo Conference, to say a few words on this occasion.
Good morning to all of you. It is my pleasure to hear with you in this inaugural ceremony. I express my sincere gratitude and respect to the Honorable President of the session, Sri Sanjay Chandra, Guest of Honor, Dr. Vasudha Apte, Chief Guest, Dr. Raja Dixit, Patron of Organizing Committee, Air Commodore, Retired, Asak P. Sinde, Chairman of Organizing Committee, Dr. Dilip Jo, Secretary of Organizing Committee, Dr. Sushma Jog, other members of the Organizing Committee, members of Advisory Committee, members of Technical Support Committee, other respected dignitaries, fellow delegates, members of Pune Prarthana Samaj, and all who are virtually attending the conference. It gives me great pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of Brahmo Conference Central Committee on the inaugural ceremony of 130th session of Brahmo Conference. In the cultural capital of Marathas and Queen of Deccans in Pune, which is being hosted by the Pune Prarthana Samaj. This is the fourth session in the history of Brahmo Conference to hold it here. The first session was in the year 1991, second session was in the year 2004, and the third was in the year 2012. In the third session, that is in the year 2012, I attended the conference with all my family members. I can remember that good days. Now, in this year, the fourth time, Pune Prarthana Samaj is holding the annual session of Brahma Conference. It is indeed a memorable occasion for all delegates who are attending the 130th session of the Brahma Conference virtually. For this year, we planned a lot for 150th year of Pune Prarthana Samaj, but due to present pandemic situation, we are not able to attend the conference physically, but only virtually. Hope and pray to God very soon we will overcome this situation. Let us remember with reverence the founding fathers of Brahma Samaj, namely Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Pandit Ramchandra Vidya Bagish, Maharshi Devendranath Thakur, Brahmananda Keshav Chandra Sen, Pandit Shivnath Sastri, and many more. We also remember the leaders, the great leaders of Pune Prarthana Samajas, Sri Chintaman Shakharam Chitnis, Sri Kesavrao Godbole, Sri Sibram Pant Gokhale, Justice M.G. Ranade, Dr. R.G. Bhandarkar, Maharshi V.R. Sindhe, Principal V.K. Jog, Sri Ganpatrao Sindhe, Sri Guruvaya D.G. Jagtap, Srimati Basundhara Bai Sarma, K.Y. Vandarkar, Srimati Lakshmi Bai Sindhe, Sri Abhay Sharma, and many more. The regular annual gathering of Brahmos and Brahma sympathizer under the banner of Brahma Conference was started in 1890 at Dhaka. Now it is in Bangladesh. Up to 1937, the annual Brahma Conference were held mostly in various towns of East Bengal and Assam province. For the first time in 1938, Calcutta hosted the Brahma Conference session. Thereafter, Brahma Conference sessions were annually held in different places of India. The present day conference has undergone tremendous changes in attendance, programs, discussions, entertainment, souvenir, etc. I admire the organizers for their efforts to make the conference grand success. The delegates, brothers and sisters, young and old, who are attending this conference virtually, ensure our faith and desire to uphold and maintain our Brahmo ideas. Our activities and contacts have covered from Shillong in the east to Ahmedabad in the west, and Shimla in the north to Coimbatore in the south, and also different parts of the world. As we know that during pandemic, the different Brahma Samajas are organizing the virtual session of their Sunday services, and we are attending them in different platforms. In every Sunday 7 p.m. we are attending the prayers, the Sunday service or weekly prayers. So this is also one of the positive side of this pandemic. We can say that basically those who are not living in that particular town or in that particular city, or those who are living in the abroad, they are also able to join the session. Those who are very old, not able to attend the session regularly, they can also attend the session from their residence. So this is also very good news for us. Following the vision and teaching of Raja Rammohan Roy, the founder of Brahmo religion, the Brahmo Samaj has a big role to play in the present day of India. The current socio-religious state of our country does not allow us to remain complacent. We cannot remain silent spectator of the degenerating trends when fundamentalism, communalism, and particularly terrorism are active to run our society and nation. Brahmos from the beginning has a glorious history of struggle for truth and have correct way of breaking narrow vested interest. Our forefathers have shown right ways of life which has become relevant in present age. This is a journey spanning over 2 centuries and yet more to come. Let us be confident. Let us pool our resources to mobilize Brahmo idealism to save our nation. Let God the Almighty give us the strength and devotion to fulfill our objectives. I again admire the organizer of Pune Prarthana Samaj for the excellent arrangement to make it a grand success. Om Brahma Kripa Kevalam. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Day, for briefing the audience about our role of Brahmo Conference in uniting the Brahmo fraternity across the world. I would like to request Professor Zog to give an introduction about Honorable Shri Sanjay Chanda, the President of the present 130th session of Brahmo Conference, and welcome him by presenting the conference memento.
I am here to introduce to you Shri Sanjay Chanda, who is going to be the president of this 130th session of Brahmo Conference. Shri Sanjay Chanda was born in 1942 in the beautiful town of Shillong and had his schooling, the early education in Bengali and college up to intermediate level at Shillong. And he had his undergraduate engineering education at the famous Jadavpur University, Kolkata. He then served the Assam-based company, an oil company, in the pipeline department. After retiring in 2004, he worked as a consultant to oil industry of the Middle East and Africa. He is author of the book Pipeline Engineering, which is perhaps the only book published in India on this subject. Since childhood, Sanjay ji was brought up in the Brahmo community of Shillong, in the Brahmo culture, and his wife Gopa is also from a Brahmo family. While in service, Sanjay ji was posted in oil pumping stations which were in remote areas but were surrounded by lush green tea gardens or forests. Here he developed the habit of reading books of all types, fiction and non-fiction, Bengali as well as English. Later part of his service was spent in the metros, where he was involved in the local Brahmo Samajas. In 1990 he was posted in Delhi, and since then he got involved in the activities of Delhi Brahmo Samaj. Very recently, he has translated a book by Bharadakanta Bosu from Bengali into English, and it is entitled The Ideal and Belief of Brahma Dharma. All this journey has brought him here today on this virtual platform as a president of the 130th session of Brahmo Conference organized by Pune Prarthana Samaj. Shri Sanjoy Chanda.
Thank you, Professor Zog, once again. We are really fortunate to have Honorable Shri Chanda to preside over this session. I request Professor Zog to introduce the chief guest, Professor Dr. Sridhar Madhukar, fondly known as Professor Dr. Raja Dikshit, to the august audience and welcome him by presenting the memento.
We have with us this morning Professor Dr. Raja Dikshit, who is a Punekar. Born in Pune in 1955, had his education up to PhD in history in Pune. After 40 years of teaching and research, he retired as professor and head interdisciplinary school in social sciences, Savitribai Phule Pune University, SPPU, in 2017. Presently, he is emeritus professor at SPPU, had 24 students who obtained their MPhil degree with him, and 10 students obtained PhD degree under his able guidance. Professor Dikshit has specialized in the history of 19th century Maharashtra. He has several research papers, articles and books published to his credit. This includes several textbooks and teachers' handbooks, encyclopedia entries, review articles, 150 newspaper and journal articles, and amongst the books, a very noted one is the History of Pune University, which was published by the university in 1999 on the occasion of Golden Jubilee of the University of Pune. Recently, he edited the second enlarged and updated edition of a book originally written by Dwarkanath Govind Vaidya, History of Prarthana Samaj, which was written in 1927. This has been published by the Asiatic Society of Mumbai in 2019. This is a voluminous work, a result of very sincere and hard efforts and dedication of Professor Dikshit. He has been the recipient of several awards, but I will mention only a few for the sake of brevity. The most important one is the very coveted award of the University of Pune, the late Principal V.K. Zog Award for his research and teaching contribution. He has also received Maharshi Vittal Ramji Shinde Award for the lifetime achievement. It's a lifetime achievement award. He is a member of several academic bodies and institutions. He is a member of Indian Council of Historical Research, ICHR, New Delhi. The association of Professor Dikshit with Pune Prarthana Samaj is not new. We had several interactions with him, and apart from being an ardent teacher and a researcher, he is a great human being. We are very happy to have Professor Dikshit as a chief guest for this inauguration of the 130th session of the Brahmo Conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Zog. We feel indeed honored to have Professor Dikshit amongst us today. I request Dr. Sushma Zog to introduce Srimati Vasudha Apte, who is the guest of honor, and welcome her with the conference memento.
Namaskar. I have immense pleasure and privilege to introduce the guest of honor, Dr. Mrs. Vasudha Apte from Mumbai, to this august audience of the 130th session of Brahmo Conference in this inaugural function. Dr. Vasudha Vishnu Apte is a retired professor and head of the Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology at TN Medical College, Mumbai, and later at Surat Municipal Institute of Medical Education and Research. During her tenure of 35 years of full-time service, Dr. Apte developed the Department of Forensic Medicine and Toxicology up to PG level. Dr. Vasudha Apte has been the first lady in the state of Maharashtra to choose forensic medicine and toxicology as her career. She is in this field since 1970. What is remarkable is that Dr. Apte got her MD and LLB degrees after marriage while shouldering multitude of professional and domestic responsibilities. Besides being the first lady medico-legal expert in Maharashtra, Dr. Vasudha Apte had the honor of being the only lady in the panel of deputy coroners in the history of 125 years of Coroner's Court in Mumbai. As a part of her duty, Dr. Apte performed several postmortems. Once, she performed 27 postmortems, autopsies, in one single day. Dr. Apte is the first lady to be the president of Indian Academy of Forensic Medicine. Dr. Vasudha Apte has a multifaceted personality. She was the athlete champion of TN Medical College. She has proficiency in arts, crafts and music, and also in cooking. Many of her poems have been published. She has written a book in Marathi titled गुन्हेगारांचे कर्दनकाळ न्याय वैद्यक शास्त्र, for which she received Suprabhat Sahitya Puraskar 2018. For her extraordinary work in the field of forensic medicine and toxicology, she received several honors. For the sake of brevity, I will mention only a few of them here. In 1995, she received Woman of the Year Award from American Biographic Institute. In 1999, she received Woman of the Decade Award from Medico-Legal Society, New Delhi. She is recipient of Hirkani Award 2009 of Mumbai Doordarshan and Unch माझा Zhoka Award 2013 of Zee Marathi TV channel. Recently, she received felicitation as leading lady at the hands of Governor of Maharashtra at his office. Above all these accomplishments, Vasudha Tai has a special identity. She is a great granddaughter of Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade and Ramabai Ranade. Vasudha Tai, we feel proud with your presence here and are eager to listen to you. Over to you, Dr. Vasudha Apte.
Thank you, Sushma. We are indeed proud to have Dr. Vasudha Apte amongst us today. I now request Dr. Vasudha Apte to say a few words.
Namaste. Dear brothers and sisters, today is a very special day for all of us as we all are participating in the 130th session of Brahmo Conference. It is remarkable that a praiseworthy tradition is continued for more than 130 years. It is a matter of great pleasure and honor for me to be a participant in this inaugural function. At the outset, I thank the organizers and office bearers of Pune Prarthana Samaj for having invited me for this particular event. Pune Prarthana Samaj is familiar to me because I have been attending functions in Pune Prarthana Samaj ever since I was a little girl. I used to go with my parents in the functions and upasanas of Prarthana Samaj. On this special occasion, I feel that it is necessary for all of us to pay homage to great leaders like Dr. Atmaram Panduranga Tarkhadkar, Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade, Dr. Ramkrishna Gopal Bhandarkar, and many others who were associated with Prarthana Samaj. Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade was a hardcore theist and had purity of thought and action. His mind was full of divinity. He had firm belief in monotheism and he liked the way of worshipping through meditation and contemplation. He was not in favor of idol worship as he realized that worship of different deities and idols leads to division of Hindu community in various cults and sects. Justice Ranade believed that all human beings are progeny of God and therefore they should have a feeling of brotherhood amongst all of them. Bombay Prarthana Samaj was established on 31st of March 1867 and Mr. Ranade joined it a little later in the next year. He had earnest faith in the basic tenets of Prarthana Samaj and was sure that Prarthana Samaj aimed at uplift and betterment of the society. Through his speeches and writings, Mr. Ranade explained the doctrinal principles of Bombay Prarthana Samaj. He was associated with Samaj throughout his lifetime. In 1873, Mr. Ranade wrote a very interesting and noteworthy article that was called Theist Confession of Faith. Mr. Ranade's religious discourses were published by Ramabai Ranade in 1902 on the first death anniversary of Justice Ranade, and the book was named Dharma Par Vyakhyani. Mr. Ranade had a firm belief that education helps betterment and of the thinking process of people. He insisted on education not only of men but also of women, and he did it himself. Within a few days after marriage with Ramabai, that is Yamuna Kurlekar, who was an 11-year-old girl that time, he started her formal education and he set up a good example for others to follow. Ramabai was endowed with great ability to learn new things and she had high level of intelligence. Her achievements in education and social work are really noteworthy and remarkable, and she was the founder of Seva Sadan Society at Pune. Because of her social work, in 1913, she was awarded Kaisar-e-Hind award by Government of India. She was really famous for her education of women and encouraging other activities of women. Mr. Ranade was very much in favor of women's emancipation. He was very sorry about some of the obnoxious customs and traditions that prevailed in society against women. He strongly felt and supported the remarriage of young widows and had the courage of stopping the wrong traditions against women despite strong opposition from the conservatives. Mr. Ranade was a descendant of great social reformer Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Mr. Ranade had a comprehensive vision about industrial, agricultural, social and political reforms. Mr. Ranade strongly supported the remarriage of young widows and had the courage of stopping wrong traditions against women despite strong opposition from the conservatives. Mr. Ranade was a descendant of great social worker and reformer Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Mr. Ranade had a comprehensive vision about industrial, agricultural, social and political reforms. He was a strong optimist who never failed to see a ray of hope even from the event of setback. He was a man of integrity, commitment, exemplary tenacity, hard work, and he always thought of others before he thought of himself. Justice Ranade was a great visionary. He had a comprehensive vision of distant future too. He believed in path of conciliation and not confrontation. He had faith in gradual evolution and not revolution. He thought of development of the society in all facets of human life. He was one of the founders of major and many organizations, including Indian National Congress. He was the backbone of many other institutions. Though he had multifaceted personality, he was modest, moderate, and unassuming. He had helped the uplift of society in last 30 to 35 years of 19th century. He was called epitome of perfection, and he was idol and ideal of many young people, graduated people of that period. Because of his achievements and devotion, he is remembered with reverence by all the people even now. Another great person and a scholar who was strong supporter of Prarthana Samaj was Dr. Ramakrishna Gopal Bhandarkar. He had command over Sanskrit language and he wrote textbooks. He had his education at Elphinstone College and Institute. Later on, he was a teacher in Elphinstone Institute for a few years. After that, he was appointed Fellow of Deccan College. With great dedication and devotion, he studied Sanskrit and he became a Pandit. He worked as a professor in Elphinstone College for 10 years. Later on, he was the first Indian appointed as professor at Deccan College. He was an eminent personality in Oriental studies and he attended a seminar at Vienna in 1886. Dr. Ramakrishna Gopal Bhandarkar was the Vice Chancellor of University of Bombay for 3 years. He died in 1925 at the age of 88. His name has become immortal because of Bhandarkar Institute at Pune, Bhandarkar Road in Pune, and the books that he wrote. Brahmo Samaj and Prarthana Samaj are the institutes founded for religious and social reforms and for removal of discrimination between caste, creed and religion. Let the younger generation accept the spread of basic principles of Prarthana Samaj, humanize, equalize and spiritualize. Both these institutions will continue with their religious and social activities for a long time, forever. I wish them bright future. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Vasudha Apte, for a very informative and motivating speech. I would now like to request the chief guest of this session, Dr. Raja Dixit, to say a few words.
Honorable Chairperson, Sri Sanjoy Chanda, the guest of honor, Dr. Vasudha Apte, who is also privileged to be the great-granddaughter of Justice Mahadev Govinda Ranade and Ramabai Ranade, Sri Saurav Dey, Secretary of the Brahmo Conference, Professor Dilip Jog, Chairman of the Reception Committee of the Conference, Dr. Sushma Jog, Organizing Secretary of the Reception Committee, and all the Brahmo and pro-Brahmo brothers and sisters attending this august function online. I am extremely happy to declare that the 130th session of the Brahmo Conference is inaugurated. I am a historian by profession, and let me at the outset admit that I am witnessing history, feeling history, and breathing history while addressing you all. I consider it as an honor to be invited as the chief guest at this historic occasion, and I am therefore extremely grateful to the organizers for the honor they have done me today. It is both pleasure and honor to have Sri Sanjoy Chanda in chair, who is the president of this conference and the president of Delhi Brahmo Samaj as well. A person holding such positions is certainly one of the torchbearers of the pious Brahmo legacy of about 192 years. I am just an ordinary student of this legacy, experiencing the golden touch of the Brahmo generosity today. My only qualification to be named as the chief guest is probably my research-based editing work of the second revised and updated edition 2019 of the well-known Marathi tome Prarthana Samajacha Itihas, History of Prarthana Samaj, that was written originally by a dedicated Prarthana Samajist, Dwarkanath Govind Vaidya, in 1927. The story of Prarthana Samaj and also of Brahmo Samaj cannot be merely an account of the work of a particular institution, but it represents great awakening and socio-religious reform movements that brought India on the road to modernity. These movements aimed at curbing some socio-religious evils and setting some new practices, but more importantly, they aimed at, to use the words of A.R. Desai, democratization of social institutions and social relations, and where the expression of the rising national consciousness and spread of the liberal ideas of the West among the Indian people. They sought a rationalist critic of the social life of Indians and preached religious universalism. The rise of Brahmo Samaj and Prarthana Samaj was the integral part of Indian Renaissance. All of us are, therefore, fortunate to witness the 130th session of All India Brahmo Conference and the post-centennial Golden Jubilee of Pune Prarthana Samaj. Let me congratulate the office bearers of both the esteemed bodies and extend my warm wishes for their future journey. Let us all resolve on this occasion to follow the way shown by the galaxy of selfless leaders of the Brahmo Prarthana movement. I have only 20 minutes at my disposal, so I shall try to be very brief and somewhat aphoristic in my expression. The Brahmo movement is like a banyan tree, of which Brahmo Samaj and Prarthana Samaj along with their variants are the branches. As you are aware, the Brahma Sabha or Brahmo Samaj was founded by Raja Ram Mohan Roy at Kolkata on 20th August 1828, which was one of the earliest institutionalized expressions of the Indian Renaissance. Nurtured by the leaders such as Raja Ram Mohan Roy, Maharshi Devendranath Tagore, and Keshav Chandra Sen, it became a prominent reformist body and certainly provided inspiration to Prarthana Samaj, founded on 31st March 1867 at Mumbai, followed by Pune Prarthana Samaj, founded on 4th December 1870. But Prarthana Samaj was neither the replica nor the branch of Brahmo Samaj. Due to the similarity of thought and action of the both, it was suggested that Prarthana Samaj be renamed as Brahmo Samaj, but that did not happen, and the Prarthana Samaj maintained its own identity. The philosophical foundation of Prarthana Samaj was laid down mainly by Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade and Dr. Ramakrishna Gopal Bhandarkar. Ranade's long essay entitled A Theist Confession of Faith was of great importance in this context. Though this movement was termed Protestant Hinduism, Ranade Bhandarkar erected its liberal modern edifice on the solid base of medieval Maharashtrian Bhagavad Dharma propagated by the saint poets such as Jnaneshwar, Eknath and Tukaram. The moral impact of the medieval Marathi Bhakti movement on Prarthana Samaj was clearly reflected in the religious discourses of both Ranade and Bhandarkar. In one of the religious discourses of Ranade, we find a brilliant, insightful and combined discussion of Sant Jnaneshwar's Pasayadan, praying for the happiness of humanity and welfare of all living beings, and Sant Tukaram's Abhanga, Avaghe Dekhe Jana Brahma Rupa, perceiving Brahma in the people. The impact of righteous, pro-people and socially relevant Bhakti movement was a distinct feature of Prarthana Samaj. However, both Brahmo Samaj and Prarthana Samaj shared common reformist consciousness, and they had so many interconnections and similarities that both became part of the same movement that is broadly known as Brahmo movement, sometimes referred as Brahmo Prarthana movement. The pious confluence could even be witnessed in the present conference. In one sense, the Brahmo structure is like the Indian nation or the Indian culture, representing unity in diversity and respecting diversity in unity. There is neither a duality nor a non-duality, but the Brahmo Prarthana movement is marked by a beautiful Vishishtadvaita, that is specific non-duality. This Vishishtadvaita has been preserved through some national level activities. In the initial phase of Indian national movement, the social issues were not discussed on the Congress platform. Therefore, Justice Ranade, with some other reformers, set up a non-political organization named as the National Social Conference. Its annual session was held concurrently with the Congress session. Ranade made this experiment in the domain of religion also. From the Allahabad session of Indian National Congress held in 1888, the Bharatiya Ekeshwari Dharma Parishad, All India Theistic Conference, was organized separately. Justice Mahadev Govinda Ranade was the first president and Pandit Shivanath Shastri was the secretary of that body. In all, 22 sessions of this conference were held all over India during the period from 1888 to 1913. The social conference and the theistic conference had a close connection since both used to meet simultaneously with the annual session of Indian National Congress. The theistic conference had the linkages with the Unitarian Association in America too. Maharshi Vittal Ramji Shinde's role in this activity was noteworthy. His theistic directory, published in Mumbai in 1912, also played a unifying role. The annual sessions of the All India Brahmo Conference from 1890 till today also have the same historic significance. I am sure the current session, that is the 130th session of the conference, will also be successful in that respect. The very fact that it has been organized online with undaunted faith and determination, even under the dark shadow of the all-pervading calamity of Corona, testifies the true Brahmo spirit. I sincerely hope that through the deliberations, the participants will give a serious thought to enhancing the contemporary relevance of the Brahmo movement. If need be, the straightforward introspection is welcome. The theme chosen for this conference by the organizers is Orienting Brahmo and Prarthana Samaj to connect to the youth. They deserve to be congratulated for the choice of this forward-looking theme. The theme, on one hand, appears to be an admission of not having adequate connect with the youth, and on the other hand, it shows a strong desire to overcome that limitation for the better realization of the objectives of the Brahmo movement so as to keep up pace with the times. Many of the reforms preached by the Brahmo movement have been brought into reality, but much more is yet to be done, and that is possible if the participation of the youth increases. I am sure the current session will lead to a great churning in that direction. In my humble opinion, that will just be the beginning, and an action-oriented program will have to be chalked out and implemented in a sustained manner. While doing so, Brahmo Prarthana leadership will have to take into account some of the old experiments, such as the Brahmo Postal Mission launched at Pune in 1902 and the Young Theist Union founded at Mumbai in 1905. Some suitable changes will of course be required. The Brahmo Postal Mission could, for example, be transformed into the Brahmo Digital Mission. Many constructive activities that are directly relevant to the life and problems of the youth, right from metropolitan to rural and tribal areas, could be undertaken. The active participation of the youth in developing this policy is highly required. Being a student of the Brahmo Prarthana movement, I would like to share my concern regarding the history of the movement. The old histories written by the activist scholars such as Pandit Shivanath Shastri and D.G. Vaidya need to be revised, enlarged and updated now and even rewritten if possible. In case of Prarthana Samaj, that was done recently by the Asiatic Society of Mumbai under my editorship, which further needs to be translated in English and Hindi. While doing this work, I greatly experienced the neglect of old records. Though the recent concept of history gives importance to the interpretation, the facts cannot be properly interpreted without the availability of the original sources. I take this opportunity to make a humble appeal to all Brahmo and Prarthana Samajists to urgently concentrate on the preservation, collection, classification and digitization of the sources of their histories in a systematic and scientific manner. The important sources could also be made available to the academic world by uploading them on the respective websites, thus strengthening the process of the democratization of historical research. Today, we are facing many socially sensitive problems due to the lack of historical literacy. And we need to seriously address this issue. The more we become history conscious, the greater are the possibilities for the better future. The moral content of the history of the Brahmo Prarthana movement needs to be emphasized today. The conference coincides with the completion of 150 years of functioning of Pune Prarthana Samaj, which has carved out a special place in the history of the Brahmo Prarthana movement. The Pune Prarthana Samaj is doing many socially relevant activities today. I am privileged to have a dialogue with some of its members, especially Professor Dilip Jog and Dr. Sushma Jog. The office bearers of Pune Prarthana Samaj certainly have a progressive vision. I extend my best wishes to Pune Prarthana Samaj on the historic occasion of post-centennial Golden Jubilee for its progressive and optimistic journey. Before I conclude, I would like to put before you the inspiring words of Justice Mahadev Govind Ranade. While addressing the Allahabad session of social conference, he said on 25th December 1892, I quote, "The change which we should all seek is a change from constraint to freedom, from credulity to faith, from status to contract, from authority to reason, from unorganized to organized life, from bigotry to toleration, from blind fatalism to the sense of human dignity." This is what I understand by social evolution, both for individuals and societies in this country. Unquote. We need to proceed in the light of these wonderful words of Justice Ranade, who also summed up the philosophy of Brahmo Prarthana movement just in 3 magical words: humanize, equalize, spiritualize, that have formed the emblem of Pune Prarthana Samaj. I conclude my inaugural address by once again thanking the organizers of this conference for giving me the opportunity to address the virtual gathering of the Brahmos from all over India. I also thank all the online participants for giving patient hearing to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Dikshit, for an excellent speech, taking us through the journey of Prarthana Samaj, right from its inception as a movement in the 19th century and the relevance of it today and also in the future. Let me now request the Honorable President of the session, Shri Sanjay Chanda, to deliver his presidential address.
यश्चायम् अस्मिन् आकाशे तेजोमयो अमृतमयो पुरुषः सर्वानुभूः यश्चायम् अस्मिन् आत्मनि तेजोमयो अमृतमयो पुरुषः सर्वानुभूः तमेव विदित्वा त्रिमित्तुमेति नान्यः पन्था विद्यते अयनायो. The seeker who has known the all-knowing, effulgent and immortal being who is in the infinite sky as well as in our soul, he alone can overcome death. There is no other way to the attainment of salvation. At the very outset, let me, on behalf of all of us, offer our salutation to Almighty God and offer our sincere thanks to Him through whose grace we have been able to meet today through this innovative virtual mode and seek His blessings so that through the deliberations, discussions and prayers during the conference, we may take our Samaj forward with renewed vigor. Respected dignitaries present in this meeting, elders of the Brahmo and Prarthana Samajes, and brothers and sisters in faith, I feel privileged and also humble to have been chosen to preside over the 130th session of Brahmo Conference. This session bears special significance because it coincides with the 150th anniversary of Pune Prarthana Samaj's foundation. Historically, Pune has been the seat of power of the Peshwas who ruled over the Maratha Empire, covering a major part of India. Even now, the armed forces of India have major presence in this city. Army Southern Command headquarters are situated here with the National Defence Academy based in Kharagphasla. Pune is an important center for premium education, and a number of scientific research centers and research laboratories are located here. It is also a major IT hub of India, and many important industrial organizations are located in the suburbs. Though Pune Prarthana Samaj is hosting this conference, we are not able to physically visit this important city this year. The Prarthana Samaj, during its 150 years of existence, has been responsible for many historical, social, and religious reforms which we shall hear about during the Centennial Golden Jubilee function later today. The Brahmo Samaj was established on the foundation of universalism. There is a Vedic sloka which says, Ekam Sat Bahuda Vipra Bahuda Vadanti. Truth is one. The sages call it by different names. Raja Rammohun Rai was a man of religion. We know him as a reformer and an activist, but the motivating factor behind his actions was his great religiosity. Throughout his life, he had been a seeker of truth, a seeker of the true religion. That is why he studied the scriptures of all the great religions of the world in great details. From his studies, he came to the realization that the essence of the teachings of all religions is the same. Unfortunately, over the ages, every religion undergoes distortions. Sometimes, rituals become more important than the religion itself. Sometimes, The priestly class, for their own selfish reasons, introduce distortions and encourage superstitions which supersede the original teachings. Sometimes, a wise man might try to deliver a moral advice through a story, but people, over a period of time, forget the advice and start believing in the story. Stripped of all these corruptions, distortions, superstitions, and meaningless rituals, the core principles of all great religions, Hinduism of the Vedas and the Upanishads, Islam, Christianity, is essentially the same. They all propagate unity of God, immortality of the soul, and ethical discipline as the basis of spiritual life. Ram Mohan recognized that a religion based on these principles will represent the common central teachings of the scriptures of all these historic religions and thus be truly a universal religion. By establishing the Brahmo Samaj, he gave practical form to his vision of universal religion, central to which is the belief in one and only formless Supreme Spirit. An invisible but all-pervading God is the essence of our faith. This concept is very clearly explained in Chandogya Upanishad through the story of Shvetketu. Shvetketu had spent several years studying the Vedas, but when he came back home after completion of his studies, his father, the learned and wise Uddalaka Aruni, realized that though he had learned the texts well, the underlying message had escaped him. So, the father offered to teach him, and Shvetketu readily agreed. His father asked Shvetketu to bring a fruit from a nearby banyan tree and break it open. "What do you see in it?" he asked. "Very small seeds, sir," answered Shvetketu. Break one of them open, my son." After the seed was broken, Shvetketu was asked, "What do you see in it?" "Nothing at all, sir," was the answer. Then the father said to him, "My son, from the essence of the seed that you cannot see comes in truth this huge banyan tree. Believe me, my son, an invisible and subtle essence is the spirit of the whole universe. That is the Supreme Spirit." Shvetketu urged his father to explain further and was asked to bring a lump of salt and place it in a bowl of water. He was asked to come back next morning. Next morning, his father said to Shvetketu, "Bring me the lump of salt you had put in the water last night." Shvetketu could not find it because it had dissolved in the water. His father then said, "Taste the water from this side. How is it? It is salty. Taste the water from the other side. How is it? It is salty, and I don't see any salt, I see only water." The father then said, "In the same way, O my son, you cannot see the Spirit. But in truth, He is here. An invisible and subtle essence is the Spirit of the whole universe. That is reality. That is truth." Like the salinity of water indicates the presence of salt in it, God reveals Himself through His creation. He is beyond our conception, but not beyond our knowledge and faith. We can comprehend Him through His manifestation in nature. If we take a glass full of water and place a piece of chalk in it, the chalk absorbs water till all its pores are full. Similarly, God is all around us as well as within us. Apart from the worship of the one and only formless Spirit, Ram Mohan's concept of Brahmo Samaj embraced the principle of promoting bonding between people of different castes, creeds, and religions. He stated that religious service in a Brahmo Mandir will promote charity, morality, piety, benevolence, virtue, and strengthening the bonds of union between men of all religious persuasions and creeds. Brahmo Samaj is based on the concept of unity. Unity of Godhead, unity of mankind. Our motto is fatherhood of God and brotherhood of man. We believe that as God's children, all human beings are born equal and should be treated with equal love, respect, and dignity. Today, if we look around the world, we find that conflicts are going on in different areas, and ironically, a majority of them are in the name of religion. Religious fundamentalism is one of the greatest menaces in the world. In our country also, forces of disunity are active. In this atmosphere, Brahmoism is most relevant. The universalism of Brahmo faith, the message of dismantling all barriers which separate man from man, and creating relationships based on love, understanding, and tolerance holds the key to this problem. We, the current generation of Brahmos, are the inheritors, the trustees of the great Brahmo legacy. It is incumbent on us to not only save this legacy, but to try and propagate it and pass it on to the next generation. We need to introspect. There is a story that when King Charles I of England was defeated in a civil war, he was captured by the rebels, tried and sentenced to death. His successors lost control to the throne. Some loyal subjects of Charles kept their hope alive that someone from his bloodline would regain the throne. It is said that Charles's crown was in the secret possession of a loyal family. Every generation took an oath to protect the crown. When the crown was handed over by a father to his son, the oath taken was in a question and answer form. What shall we give for it? All that is ours. Why shall we give it? For the sake of the trust. The lofty ideals of the Brahmo Samaj are more valuable than a king's crown. This legacy of ours should be saved at any cost. It is a legacy handed over to us by our illustrious forefathers. Today, in this virtual meeting place, attended by Brahmo brothers and sisters from all over the country and Bangladesh, let us take this oath in the form of 2 questions and their answers. What shall we give for it? All that is ours. Why shall we give it? For the sake of the trust. This brings us to the theme of this conference, which is orienting Brahmo Prarthana Samaj to connect to the youth. If we want the Brahmo legacy to survive, if we want the Brahmo movement to progress, if we want to propagate its message to the society at large, the younger generation has to be involved. They are our future. They are the future of our movement. However, it is incumbent on us to motivate and make them take the oath we have talked about with all sincerity. The world we live in is constantly changing. Everything around us changes. The environment changes. With the change of social environment, our lifestyle changes. With the advance of technology, our outlook changes. Our priorities change. To keep up with this changing world, I feel that our Samaj also has to change. While the principles on which Brahmo Samaj stands, its ideals and its messages are universal, we probably have to adapt them to the changed circumstances. We have to examine how today's generation can best relate to the Brahmo Samaj, how they would like to practice our faith. The best way to protect our legacy, our belief, our faith is, I believe, to change the practices from our way to their way, so that it appeals to the future generation. The task before us, as the current custodians of the Brahmo Samaj and Brahmo Dharma, is to be agents of this change and to find the right path ahead. Today and tomorrow, there will be discussions and deliberations on this very important subject that is the theme of this conference. I do hope and I pray to Almighty God for His blessings that we are able to have some actionable plans at the end of this conference. So, we have a goal in view, and let us leave no stones unturned to achieve this. I repeat the last 4 lines of the English poet H.W. Longfellow's famous poem, A Psalm of Life. Let us then be up and doing, with a heart for any fate, still achieving, still pursuing, learn to labor and to wait. Thank you. Namaskar.
We are now moving towards the conclusion of this inaugural function of the 130th session of Brahmo Conference. I request Namita Muzumdar, member of Local Arranging Committee, to please come forward and pay the vote of thanks. After this vote of thanks, Srimati Dhaneshri Ganatra will render the concluding hymn.
Namaskar, I am Namita Muzumdar. I am here to pay vote of thanks to all our friends, associates and well-wishers. First, I would like to thank Shri Saurabh De, Secretary of Brahmo Conference and Secretary of the National Advisory Committee, for the support given to the Pune Prarthana Samaj for holding the 130th session using virtual platform. I would also like to thank Shri Sanjoy Chanda from New Delhi, President of Delhi Brahmo Samaj, for accepting our invitation to preside over this session and deliver the presidential address. Now I would like to thank Professor Dr. Raja Dikshit, chief guest of today's function, for his scholarly, thought-provoking talk, which will guide us in future. Now I would like to thank Dr. Vasudha Apte from Mumbai, guest of honor of today's function, for her inspiring and motivating speech. All the authors of the contributory and the invited articles of the souvenir, I would definitely like to thank them all. I would like to thank all the authors of the contributory and the invited articles of the souvenir. I would also like to thank all the donors, individuals and various samajas for their generous donations for this session of the conference. I would like to thank Technical Support Committee comprising of Shri Ravi Shankar from Hyderabad, Syed Khairul Mubin from Hyderabad, Devonjan Roy from Bangalore, and Amol Kher from Pune, for creating various facilities for conducting of this virtual conference. I would like to thank all the audience from various parts of India and abroad for supporting us and being with us on this joyous occasion. Thank you.
ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Thank you, everybody, for joining us for the inaugural function of both sessions of Brahmo Conference hosted by the Pune Prarthana Samaj. Looking forward to meeting all of you again at 4 o'clock in the evening for the post-centennial Golden Jubilee program of the Pune Prarthana Samaj. Thank you once again. Until then, stay safe and take care. Thank you. Namaskar.